Hi, it's Cheryl. Welcome to Homeward Studio. This video is going to be a little longer than normal because I have compiled my top 30 favorite fall DIYs to share with you. So let's waste no time and get this party started. We're making a wall sign, or it could be a shelf sitter. It's kind of big, so you're going to need 4 of those little metal picture frames and 2 of any 2 boards that match. I just had those from last year. And some picks of your choice. This is again all Dollar Tree stuff. I have a bunch of ribbon. I have the raffia in the green and the just regular color. And then this calendar is from this year. I'm going to use that. This is on the back of the calendar because the pictures are small. And you can use any pictures you want. You can use pictures of your family, but this is what I have, and I have pictures from other calendars too, from this year and last year, so you're going to need 4 of them. Some scrapbook paper also, and some chalk paint and plaster and moss, and it's the Waverly. So I removed the pieces, and they were stapled on, so they left a pretty big gouge in there. So I took this speckling, the lightweight speckling from the Dollar Tree, and I just filled in those holes on both pieces, and I let them dry. And while that's drying, I'm cutting out my little pictures here, and I have my cutting, I don't know what you call this piece, I've had it for years because I used to do scrapbooking, but my cutter here to make sure that they're all even and all the same size. And then my scrapbook paper here, you can use cardboard, you can use whatever you want. I'm cutting 4 pieces out, and that's going to be kind of the border of the picture, and you'll see in a minute what I mean. So 4 of these I cut out, and now I'm removing the back of all 4 of these picture frames. And now I have a glue stick, and I'm just going to glue these pictures in the middle of the card here. So now that it's dry, I sanded it down, and now I'm just wiping all the residue off. And I placed my picture frames on here, and because we're going to be painting these boards, I'm taking a black Sharpie and I'm going to measure them off, and I'm going to put dots on the side of the board where we're not going to paint, so we can see the position of them. And I think I went 1.5 inches inward, and then from the top and the bottom I went 2 inches down. And now I'm going to just flip the boards over and put popsicle sticks on them, and I'm covering that so it doesn't glare in your face. I've noticed on some of my videos the glare from my overhead light is pretty significant, so I don't want to blind you. I want you to see my project, not my lights. Anyway, I'm just reinforcing that with the popsicle sticks. And then you could put craft paper on the back of that if you'd like to hide that. Now I'm going to paint, and this is the Waverly Moss chalk paint, and I did 1 quick coat, and then I let that dry, pretty much almost dry, and then I did kind of just a heavy distress with the Waverly plaster chalk paint. And I wrote my measurements down, and I also looked on the side where my little markers were with that Sharpie that I marked them, you know, to position them in the same spot. And then I hot glued them down. You could probably use a heavier glue like E6000 or something. I just put hot glue on here because I'm not selling it, but if you're going to sell it or give it away to somebody, you're going to want to do that. And then I just clipped my pictures in here. Super easy. And I just took a big bunch of raffia in both these colors here, and kind of put a little tie in the middle, glued it on top. And what I'm showing you here is, see the colors of the pictures that you have? I'm just matching all my stems with the colors of the pictures. And you can see there's a lot of yellow and green in here, so you want to give it some interest and put a little bit of darker color, a little bit lighter, but try to make sure that it matches. And of course you need to put orange in there, but I didn't want bright orange. And just build it up as much as you like. And now I'm making a messy bow. And I put it up there, and I put a little button in the middle and little shoelace bows here out of jute. I'm putting it on the pictures. And if you want to hang it, go ahead and glue some jute on the top. I have this wood piece. This is not from the Dollar Tree. I think I got it on sale at Michael's or something. It says blessed. I felt like it just needed something more. You can stencil something on this or leave it plain. I just painted that with burnt umber and put blessed. And the little one on the top that says give thanks, that's from the Dollar Tree. Super quick, easy, and very budget friendly. This is going to be a banner for my mantle. Now you can put it over a door frame if you like, or your mantle. And I'm just showing you pieces that you need. So you need a rope and the tape measure, and I have a leaf and a pumpkin that I'm just going to use to trace, and I have all this material from the Dollar Tree that I'm going to use, and the little burlap banner. So I removed the string from the banner. I'm not going to glue that pumpkin on it. I'm just going to use it. This is from another project. I'm just going to use it to trace a pumpkin and trace it on the back. And so I traced pumpkins and I traced leaves, and then I'm cutting them out and I'm going to glue them onto the banner. But first, I showed you that tape measure. You're going to want to measure whatever you're going to put it on. So I am going to attach this to my mantle. My mantle is 6 feet wide, and the rope was 9.5 feet wide. So I knew that I had enough rope. And then I just I thought I was going to need 2 packages of this burlap banner, and I only had 1, but it worked out perfect because I only need 6 feet. Yeah, 6 feet. And I think I had 6 of these banners. So I left probably, I want to say 6 or 7 inches of space between each banner. So I put that pumpkin on there and I just hot glued it down around the perimeter of the pumpkin, not in the middle because sometimes it'll show right through the material. So I just want it on the edges. And then after I did that, I put some jute twine on top for the stem, and I had some leaf picks left, and I just cut some little leaves out of that and glued them on there, and I glued a button on there too. And then just figure out how many inches you want between each banner. And like I said, I think there's like, what did I say, 8, something like that. But it just depends on however you're going to hang your banner, and how many feet it is. So you have to kind of just measure that out. You guys know what I'm saying. So I'm just cutting out the leaf. Same thing, just gluing it around the edge and not in the middle. And then I put a simple little bow on here out of jute and a little button. And so I started with a lighter piece of material and then darker and lighter and darker and lighter and darker. Now I have these beads that's left over from that leaf piece that you saw earlier. And I'm just gluing the beads. And I thought it looked better not on top of the banner but on the side. And to make a long story short, this is what it looks like, and I outlined the pumpkins, not the leaves, just the pumpkins with the jute. And this is what the leaf looks like. This is so super simple, so super easy, and all the pieces are from the Dollar Tree. And then here in a second, you are going to see what it looks like on my mantle. And my mantle is not decorated for fall because it's still August. It's August 4th today, and I'm just really not ready to dig out all my fall stuff, but I am definitely ready to craft and create fall things. And you kind of have to, you kind of do it now because these pieces are at the Dollar Tree and other craft stores like right now. So you got to get it or it's going to be all gone if you wait. And this is a kind of like a boho type wall hanging. So I got this old stick from outside and some yarn, some florals, some ribbon and string. And I started peeling all this bark off of the stick because it was old and it was kind of peeling apart anyway. Then it got a little bit difficult and it actually took me a long time to take this off. But I wanted that blonde, natural kind of a look. You can use a dowel rod, you can use a stick without peeling it, you know, whatever you have. I just thought that this was kind of cool and in the perfect size. So anyway, we're just going to take, and after I sanded that stick, the yarn, and I'm using this Cricut measuring mat, and I measured a piece of yarn from one corner to the other corner, and I doubled it, and then I cut that. So it's two pieces of yarn, it's one piece of yarn, but folded in half, so don't cut it. And I'll show you again. See how I doubled it and just cut the end, so it's one string. So the reason is because you're going to want to make a loop on the end like that, and then pull the two pieces of yarn through that. And so I believe this is 8 pieces of yarn in the rust color, and now I'm going to do, this is like a mustard kind of a color, mustard beige, 8 of them, and then in the light brown tan color, and then do that 3 more times. So there's 6 rows, 2 of each color. And this is the Just Yarn plush from the Dollar Tree. And so now we're going to take that, it's completely done, we're just going to embellish it. So I had these feathers from the Dollar Tree, and I took 2 of them and put one on either side. And so you crisscross them, not crisscross them, like overlap them in the middle. And then I just took 2 zip ties, 2 black zip ties. And then I just tied them tight. And then you can put the yarn over them so you won't see them at all. Then I had these flowers, and they're kind of a rust color, but they are mums from the Dollar Tree. And I thought they matched perfectly. And so I'm just going to cut the little tip off there and glue them all onto the stick. And I believe I used 6 of them. And as you can see where there's holes, I just keep building it up. These berries are from the Dollar Tree, and they're that golden mustard, rusty color. And I put a couple of those on, one on each side. And that's a bird. I'm going a little bit fast in this video, but I clipped the bird on, and he's a rust color too. Now I'm going to make a hanger. I'm going to use the jute, but you can use whatever you want. You can use ribbon, and I just double knotted it and then put a little bit of hot glue on the end and clipped off that little piece there. And then I did the same thing to the other side. You know, figure out how long you want it. This piece is pretty long actually. I'm probably going to cut the end of the yarn off because it's really long. And this is what it looks like. You can see the bottom is uneven, but like I said, I'm going to trim that. And there's that bird. I couldn't believe that it matched so perfectly. And you guys, if you've listened to my other videos, you know I love birds. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. I think of them when you get older, that one of those things that you never appreciated, but then when you get older, you appreciate them. Anyway, enough said about that. But this is the project, and now we're going into the next project. And this is not really you know, a DIY. This is just something that I thought was cute. Take that bottle with the pumpkins on it from the Dollar Tree, and I just retied the ribbon. You could replace the ribbon with whatever color you want, and the ribbon was too long, so I just clipped it off. A good way for that bottle not to roll around, because you just saw I was having trouble with it, is just put it on a kitchen towel, and then it won't roll like this. Then just pop that cork out, and you can put rocks in the bottom, or sand, or Spanish moss, or whatever. And all of these pieces are from Hobby Lobby. Yeah. So whatever you desire, just pop them in there. This one was my favorite one, and it's sitting on my shelf. That's it. Quick and easy. This is the next project. I had an inspiration piece from Home Goods, but I can't find the picture. I'm sorry. But I'm going to just recreate it. These are metal pumpkins that I got from Walmart last year on sale, but you can use the wood pumpkins, and you can paint them gold or orange or yellow, white, whatever color you like. The hoops are from the Dollar Tree. I used the largest one. And here, as you can see, I only took 2 of those out of the hula skirt here. This is hula skirt. I only took 2, and then I'm just kind of wrapping them around. I wanted the braided look, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I'm just kind of looping it around and tying it, and then pushing it up tight next to itself. So now I thought 2 wasn't enough. This is now 6 long pieces of that hula skirt, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just tying it all the way around. So sit in front of the TV and watch a good program while you do this, because it takes a long time. Not that long, but you know, it's long. And so obviously I didn't want to show you all of this, and this is what it looks like when it's done. And I love how it kind of twisted around like that. So I'm just gluing it here and there. When you do run out of the hula skirt, I just took another 6 pieces and tied it onto the end, and then just, you know, did the tying around. So now you just take the 3 pumpkins, and like I said, you can use the wood ones too, and the wood ones you can actually put beads on them, paint them different colors. These are just metal, and I thought about painting them, but then I kind of liked it. And this is a really simple, quick piece other than wrapping it. Now I'm taking some twine, and I'm just going to make 3 little bows, just shoelace bows. Oh, excuse me. First I'm making a hanger, and I just tied it onto the top there. I made a loop, pulled it through the loop, and tied a knot on the top. And now I'm putting the bows on the pumpkins. And you know, you can use ribbon too. I just kind of like that, like, rustic look, kind of. So this is what it looks like hanging on my wall. And for the next project, I have a candy corn pumpkin floral arrangement. So I need 3 of those. Those are the wooden pumpkins, and these are all from the Dollar Tree too. Those candy corn picks and the florals and berries and, you know, leaves of your choice. And I said you need 2 of those signs. No, just 1. And some ribbon and some paint, the color of candy corn. I have yellow, orange, and white. Any kind of paint will work. And so that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And I just wanted to show you. And I'm going to real quick here paint this one, and I'm putting it together because that's the way it's going to look. So I need to know what I'm going to paint the sides. And now for the back, I'm just gonna kind of
have fun. I put some yellow paint on here. It's not perfect, but I just kind of wanted to blend all these different colors together. And there's the orange paint, and then I add some white paint onto it too. You can't ruin this. It just looks kind of cool, kind of 3D when you're done. And I did it to all three of them. So now that's the antique wax, and I took the tip of my brush because I wanted to make like little squiggly lines and polka dots, and that's what it looks like when they're done. And I like that wood look on this one here, the Harvest Wishes. So remove the paper, and then you're going to want to glue them on top of this, what it says, Harvest Wishes. We don't want to see that. We just want to see the wood grain. And that center pumpkin goes in front of the other two. So do you see how on the ends it's yellow and in the middle the sides are orange? I hope that makes sense. And now just take some floral foam, also from the Dollar Tree, cut little pieces out of there and hot glue it inside. And then the candy corn picks. I was just kind of measuring them to see how tall I want them, because you want this to have a little bit of height. So the flowers are going to go low and the candy corns are going to be kind of in the upper medium, and then I'm going to put some little picks up on top that give it more like height. And these are the little white mums. And I don't know what the yellow orange flowers are, but as you can see, there's a theme here: yellow, orange, and white. And those are the flowers and the picks that I chose just to, you know, kind of blend it all together. And oh, these berries, I love these berries. They are literally the color of candy corn minus kind of the white in there, but they matched perfectly. And then this mesh ribbon type stuff, I folded it in half, like up and then down, and then folded it up in the middle. Or no, maybe I didn't do it. Maybe I don't know. I played with this for a little bit. And this was not easy to hot glue it down. I had to keep on hot gluing it. And I made the piece too short. I should have made it so it wraps around the whole thing. And you see how the bottom's open there on this arrangement? You can actually cut like felt and glue it on the bottom. So anyway, I hot glued this orange mesh around, and then this is like a sheer black ribbon, and I just made a shoelace bow on the end, clipped them up into an angle, and that's what it looks like. And here it is sitting on my buffet. So this is the next project we're going to make, and we need 3 different sizes of pumpkins: little, medium, and large. And these are some beads and pearls and sequins and the tube glitter, and that's a vase filler. So it's all like, these are going to be Glam pumpkins, and I had an inspiration piece from Home Goods also from this, but I didn't put it in here. So just remove all of the stickers, and we're going to use the back of these. You can glue paper on if you don't want to see the back of the pumpkins, but I didn't for the purpose of this video. And so remove all the pieces, and then this is gold paint, gold acrylic paint, and I only painted but a thick coat, 1 coat on each pumpkin. And wait till that dries really well. Now this is the pearly color vase filler. It's like white, but it's kind of iridescent almost. And I was trying to figure out how to glue them on there, and I was going to put them precisely on there, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have to do this like 200 times, and it's too much. So anyway, a huge amount of Mod Podge generously placed on this, and then I sprinkled those all around because I want this to be very sparkly and very glam looking. So I took the pearls from the Dollar Tree, and I sprinkled those and mixed them in with the vase filler. And then I took another pack of pearls and another pack of vase filler and put it on there too. And that's what it looks like. So now the medium pumpkin. These are like, it's not really a rose gold, but it's not a true gold and it's not silver. Sequins, and they're from the Dollar Tree. Almost everything I use is from the Dollar Tree. A couple of things here and there are from, Hobby Lobby or Michael's, but I know that Dollar Tree sells those. And again, a generous amount of Mod Podge, and you kind of got to work fast because you do not want this to dry because you want to get the sequins on it before it dries so they stick. And the sequins, there's small, medium, and large size sequins, and I sprinkled them all on there and used them all. And that's what that looks like. And now for the last pumpkin, and this is the largest one. And once again, you got to work really fast. And I think this is called tube confetti, but it's really lightweight. And the last one, I wanted it to be all kind of gold. And I only had one pack of this, and I wish I had two, because even though when the Mod Podge dries, you're going to be able to see the gold through the bottom of it. It looks really cool when it's dry. So then I took the copper colored and I sprinkled the copper color throughout the whole pumpkin. Now at the very end, I dabbed on a ton of Mod Podge, and it took like the whole day to dry. This is a rope that I cut, and I kind of pulled it all apart to make the top stem, and then hot glued it on the top really well there. And then I hot glued these pieces together, and I had a hard time keeping them together. I have to do E6000, but for the purpose of this video, I have clips on them to hold them together so you can see what this looks like. Here are the pieces that you're going to need. And this is from Michael's. It was $4.99. I did not pay that. It was 75% off. I always go at the end of the year and stock up on their stuff. One of those pumpkins from the Dollar Tree and two of these. This is a rug from the Dollar Tree, and this is a sweater from one of my daughters that had a tear in it. So I decided I was going to use it to cover one of the pumpkins. And what I did is just pulled some burlap and some ribbon and some bows, some flower picks and leaves and all kinds of things, pit berries. I kind of knew what my color scheme was going to be, so this is kind of what I had, and a lot of it is just from my stash. You're also going to need some Waverly chalk paint in the color truffle. And here's some more ribbon. I love this. There's 50 pieces here. I don't remember how much it was. I didn't show you the price there. It might have been like $12.99. Got it from Michael's, as well as this $9.99 for 30 pieces. This ribbon is so cool. All of these. There's so many different pieces, and you know I did not pay full price for that. So the first thing we're going to do here is remove the leaf and the tie and the sticker and everything, and I'm just going to give it one really quick coat of this chalk paint. Just one, because we're going to cover it up. And while that's drying, I am trying to take this leaf off of the pumpkin, and I finally got it off with my blow dryer, because the blow dryer melts the glue. And this little scraper thing here, I'm just taking the glue off of it onto my silicone piece that I got from the Dollar Tree that I use all the time, that I love. And now I am going to put this rug right on the pumpkin. Now I got these, what do you call them? They're like tracing pencils, you know, for material from the Dollar Tree, and I just got them the other day. And I was really excited to use them, but it did not work on this material. So I just took out my handy dandy Sharpie, because that always works. And I just traced the pumpkin. And now I'm just going to cut out the pumpkin, and you need two of them because we're going to cover both of these pumpkins, the orange ones. Now don't use the obvious, the Sharpie side, just flip it over, and we're going to glue that down to the pumpkin. Those little scissors are from the Dollar Tree. I really like them because if you have tight areas, those scissors are small, but they're sharp and they work really well. So I went around the perimeter of the pumpkin and hot glued the entire piece of material. And you will need to trim it when you're done. And this rug is really stretchy. So if you cut it too short and you can see the orange through it, you can just pull it and glue it. It works really well. And that's what those look like. And now that that chalk paint is dry, we're going to wrap it with this sweater. And I just wrapped it around like that and bunched it up in the back and cut it off. When my kids see this video, I have 3 girls, and I wonder what they're going to say. Mom, you ruined it, but it did have a hole in it or a snag in it, so I couldn't, send it to the thrift store. Anyway, I'm just gluing the material down around here. And hey, if you are a subscriber, my channel is growing. It's because of you, so I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Truly, I do. You guys are amazing. If you're not a subscriber, welcome to my channel. I do budget-friendly DIYs, thrift flips, decorating and shopping, and I hope you enjoy this video. And if you do, consider subscribing. It's totally free and it really helps me out. So anyway, I was just continuing to glue this material around the pumpkin and pulling it, and as you can see, I keep flipping it back and forth just to make sure that there's no creases or wrinkles in the front as I'm pulling this and gluing it and using my little spatula from the Dollar Tree so I don't burn my fingers. And I am a professional at burning my fingers. That's why I use that spatula all of the time. Even if I have it and the fingertips, I still burn my fingers. I am just going to take this jute from the Dollar Tree and just wrap it around just this one pumpkin right here. Actually, I wrap it around all 3 of the stems. So the easiest way for me to do this is to tie it in the back and then glue it, and then come in the front and then glue a piece below that, as you can see here. And then I take the tip of my spatula and I just press it in and make sure that it's good and dry, the glue, and then go ahead and just keep wrapping it around. And every 3 or 4 wraps, you're going to want to glue the front and the back just a little bit. Don't put a lot of glue on it because then you can see it through the jute. And now I'm going to take some jute, glue it on the back, and glue it on the top. So in the back on the top, and then run it down. So these are kind of like the lines in the pumpkin. So don't pull it really, really tight. So glue it top and glue it bottom, and then you can take and push it out and glue it. And so I'm just trying to figure out, there's so many things that you can use that are from the Dollar Tree. I like this welcome sign, but they have galvanized wood words in all different shapes and all different sayings. And so I'm going to use the, it's like a copper color. Now I have this ribbon left over from the summer, and it's that green. I don't know if it's, I don't really know what it's called, but it's some green cool ribbon. I really like it. They had it in different colors. So I cut like 8 inches and then 6 inches, and I smushed them together in the middle and tied them with some jute. Put that aside for a second. And now I have this. They sell this at the Dollar Tree, but it's more jute looking. And this was from a local dollar store over here. And I just wrapped it. You can wrap it around your finger, a pen, or a pencil. And I'm just hot gluing it to the back. And then I glued the welcome sign onto the front. And, you know, I always tell you guys this, do not touch the metal when hot glue is on it because it burns really bad. Trust me, really bad. So I just glued a little bit on there, and then I picked it up where it wasn't glued and then just kind of shoved that tip of the glue gun underneath there. And now I'm just gluing pit berries, and as I go, I never really know exactly what I'm going to do. I mean, I know the project I'm going to do, I just don't know how I'm going to enhance it. So I kind of step back and, yep, it needs some leaves, it needs some more pit berries. You know, maybe it looks a little bit too plain, and maybe plain is good. I like to go a little bit more. I had these bows, those were from Christmas last year, and I just removed the little gold piece, twisty tie around it, and put jute around it, and glued a bow on both of the larger pumpkins, and some more leaves down there. And as you can see, I'm just kind of building this up a little bit. Now I did glue those pumpkins together, but to give it some stability, I'm going to put some popsicle sticks on the back of it. And I took my blow dryer because there were these little fuzzy things from the material everywhere, so I just took my blow dryer to clean those off. And then I took 4, 2 on each side of these tumbling tower blocks to give that pumpkin a little bit of lift. And I went ahead and glued that on there. I'm still adding things because I thought it was a little bit too plain, and I thought it maybe needed a pop of color. So I had these little flowers in my stash. And there you go. I'm satisfied with it. I hope you like it too. This is what it looks like. And you can glue a hanger on the back of it if you want to hang it, or it can be a shelf sitter. And this is the next piece we're making. And I have this left over here from that sweater. And you'll need 2 pumpkins, just like the other ones. And then that was a what do you call it, hand towel for the kitchen, but I like the linen part of it, and so I took all the pieces off of the pumpkins, and I'm painting one quick coat of this chalk paint in the color elephant. And now I'm going to do the same thing as I did to the other pumpkin, only I'm going to do this a little bit different. I'm going to glue the pumpkin right onto the hand towel. So I'm doing this in sections, just a little bit at a time, and then cut it out. And then the other piece here, see, I put the chalk paint on it so you couldn't see through the lace on that sweater. That's why I did that. And so now I want the lace in the middle and the sweater to be on the side. And you can use, you know, you can thrift a sweater, or if you have an old sweater, or you can take lace, or you can buy lace, or, you know, use what you have. If you have something old around the house, go ahead and use that. Put sweater on the side. You can just cut like moon shapes, and then kind of more of a egg shape for the center, you know, like a pumpkin. You guys know what I mean. That would be an easy way also to do that. You could use any color, any material. I just had this and I thought, you know, it's been in my bin for like 3 years, and I thought, you know, I'm using it. So I went ahead and did the same thing as the previous pumpkin, cut it off, but this I did differently. Because I wanted that to be precisely in the middle. So I took those little clamps from the Dollar Tree and I put it on there. 4 of them, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom, And I'm just gluing it again, gluing it all around, and then at the end, when it's all dry, I pick up the clamps and then I can glue underneath there. But as you see, I keep turning it back and forth, back and forth. I glue a little bit down and then I turn and I look at it on the front just to make sure that it's not all, you know, wrinkly, and then it's sitting the way that I wanted it to be. And now I'm taking that ribbon from Michael's, and I found some that I really like, and I'm going to trim that little inside edge right there. So I put it probably about an inch above the pumpkin, and then an inch below. That's where I cut it off because we're going to glue it onto the back of the pumpkin. And I did the same exact thing on both sides. And now I am going to paint this with the Waverly Elephant. And I put just a real thin coat on here, and before it dried I took a baby wipe and I wiped it all off because I didn't want it really dark. I didn't want it to look gray. It looks more taupey, and that's kind of what I was after. And I'm gluing this onto the pumpkin that has the linen looking piece on it. And so that would be the top of the pumpkin. And now I'm taking the same ribbon that I used on the bottom pumpkin and I'm just outlining the pumpkin. And if you just go little by little, it will be pliable. And keep it loose, don't pull it really tight. This is chenille ribbon, and I am just wrapping it around the top pumpkin stem. And I made a bow. You just wrap it around your 3 fingers about 5 times or however much you want, and then tie it off in the middle. And I'm going to attach it there. And then I put like a little knot on the bottom of both of those little pieces that are hanging from the bow. And I have a little pearl, and I glued it there. And now it's time to put the pumpkins together. And this is what it looks like. And this is what the 2 pieces look like together, in like a little vignette. And here's my little video of it up close so you can see. We're going to make a scarecrow out of these popsicle sticks. These are not the smallest one, they're the next size up, the larger one. You see here I have one and it's kind of malformed. We're going to be using that. And I have some acrylic paint, and this is Deco Art in tan. And then this one, I'm sorry, it was blurry and I couldn't get it focused in properly, but it's called Traditional Burnt Sienna. We're going to need some raffia. Oh, and the popsicle sticks, you need 6 of them. Some buttons, some enhancements like flowers, leaves, pit berries, stuff like that, a Sharpie, a black Sharpie, and then a piece of orange felt. So now we're going to put this together, and we're going to take 5 of the 6 popsicle sticks, and we're going to line them up, and I'm going to go ahead and paint them in the tan. But before I do that, I'm going to take that's going to be the rim of its hat, and I mark it off on an angle so we know where to start and where to end. So I'm painting this tan on the lower part, which is going to be the face. And I painted the sides and the bottom, and you can paint the back too if you like. So I painted the bottom in the tan, and then the top I painted in that burnt sienna. And I also painted the hat, or the edge, yeah, of the hat, or the brim, whatever you want to call it. And when that dries, just go ahead and hot glue it. Then when that dries, I flipped it over and I just reinforced it in the back. But you're probably going to want to paint the back like right after you glue this other popsicle stick on. I would just paint it any color, it doesn't matter, because nobody's really going to be seeing it. And then I have 2 buttons, and they're exactly the same, and I'm just going to glue them on there for the Scarecrow's eyes. And I drew eyebrows and I drew a mouth, and I'm sorry the footage got lost, but I just drew it on with that Sharpie there. I made them kind of look a little happy. And now I'm taking this orange felt, and I'm just going to cut a little triangle out, kind of round the edges a little bit, and glued it on for the Scarecrow's nose. And I just made his mouth a little bit thicker so it looked like he's smiling a little bit more. And now you take the raffia, and I think I have about 7 or 8 pieces. I measured it about an inch below the bottom, and we're going to glue this on the back. But you see how I'm kind of like pressing it so it's flat, especially on top? That is so it will lay flat on the back here, and every piece will be touching the glue. So I went ahead and glued that down and held that down with my spatula from the Dollar Tree, and I did that to both sides. And then go ahead and trim it off. See, on the upper left hand part of the hat, it came up above the hat, so I had to trim that off too. Now just a little bit of burlap here. You can use material, felt, whatever you want. I just glued it on for some interest, just to embellish the hat. And then I have one of these flowers, and these are all pretty much from the Dollar Tree, except for the paint, obviously. And so I just hot glued that on, and I have these berries. They're just in my stash. And I'm gluing those on right there just to give it a little bit more character, a little bit more interest. And if the berries have like a little missing piece of the styrofoam, you can just dab some paint on it. And this is what it looks like sitting on my buffet table. I really like this project. It was kind of cool for me. I love scarecrows. Let me know if you like scarecrows, because I have another really cool idea coming up too. So this is the next DIY. So you're going to need a little box from the Dollar Tree, any kind of box. I have that round one. You're going to need some ribbon, some enhancements, embellishments, buttons, the acrylic paint, which I don't use, and I'll show you why in a minute. You're going to need a mop head, a Sharpie pen, and then some felt in your choice of colors. I was going to paint that, but I thought the color was fine, so I ended up not needing to paint it, because that is going to be the Scarecrow's face. And that's just the top of the box. So now you're going to fold that in on the felt that you choose or the material that you choose, and I believe it was 8 inches on both sides. And then go ahead and cut that out so it's like a big diamond kind of. And then fold it in half, and then go ahead and hot glue just one side. Because when we're done, when it dries, we're going to take it and we're going to turn it inside out. So now it's dry, we're flipping it inside out. And this is going to be the hat, obviously. And we don't want that to come to a point. I mean, you can if you want to, that's fine, but I didn't want mine to come to a point. So I kind of pushed more of that back in. And the seam obviously is going to be in the back. So put that down for a bit and we're going to work on the hair. This is a female scarecrow. So I just took a piece of the mop here, pulled it out, you have to pull them out, and then I'm cutting 3 pieces for each side because we're going to braid them. So cut 3 of them or 6 of them the same length, and then we're going to glue them right on the edge of the box on the side. We don't want to see any of the box lid, and I'm just gluing the tippy top, as you can see there, not going down, because like I said, we're going to braid it and we don't want to see the side. So just a little bit on top, and I did it on both sides. And it's okay if it goes over the top because we're not going to see it because we're going to put the hat over it. Okay, so now we're going to braid it. And braid it kind of tight, but don't pull too hard because you'll pull it right off the box. And as I'm braiding it, I'm smushing it up and pulling it down to make it longer and flatter or wider. And then I tied it off with some jute. And again, the same thing on the other side, and tied it off with some jute too. And I was going to make the bows out of the jute, but I decided to use ribbon instead. And then go ahead and trim those so they're even. And then I just glued those down. And now I'm just reinforcing them on top. And now I just had some ribbon. I bought a bundle of ribbon from Michael's, and they're all, I bought some for fall, but I also bought some for Christmas. But you get a ton of different choices, and I really like them. But you can use any ribbon. The Dollar Tree has a ton of ribbon. And Hobby Lobby does too, and I think it's cheaper than the Dollar Tree, the smaller, thinner stuff. So anyway, I just went and made a shoelace bow and hot glued it on the end of each braid. The hat, I just pushed that piece up and the seam goes in the back. And I fit it around the box. And now I'm going to put some little clamps there because I hot glued that hat in the back to the box. And then I finished gluing the hat around on the sides only. And now I'm making the same nose as I made earlier for the other scarecrow, just cutting a triangle and rounding off the edges and gluing the little nose on. And I glued it on upside down. And I have the 2 buttons for the eyes. Now you can make eyes out of felt. You can make them, maybe white and then put a little dot of black in the middle for the pupil, but I just glued the buttons on. I thought they were cute. And then the same kind of mouth and then some little eyelashes. And I just drew those on. And I thought the top of the hat needed something, so I glued a little flower up there. And glued that closed. Now you can put raffia coming out of the top of the hat. I was going to, but I thought it was just too busy. I had pit berries there. I didn't use them. I didn't really like the way they looked. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to take the same ribbon. I had a little bit left, and I'm just going to glue it around the edge of the hat. And now I'm gluing a button on there, and that is it. Simple. And that box fits right on, so you can give this as a present to somebody with candy in it. So here's another metal piece that I got, and this is going to be my first DIY. This was $4.99. I just did not like the color, and I wanted to make a floral arrangement with this. So I'm going to show you some things that you need. Any kind of tin. You could even use a pot if you wanted to, but I wanted to hang this piece on my wall. I thought it was interesting and I loved it. I found this ironla. I don't know really how it's pronounced. I looked everywhere for this copper color, could not find it anywhere. I don't remember where I got this from, but it was $5.99. And it's called 2 cents. That was the color. So I took it and I sprayed this outside. And it was a little bit too shiny for my liking. So I took some Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and I got that at Walmart. My Walmart is still selling them. And I took a little teeny sponge and I got it damp. And now I am blotting it on a paper towel because I'm going to distress this to make it just not as shiny. And I'm just kind of blotting this everywhere, here and there, and I am going to wipe it off. Now that I've distressed this piece, I am wiping it all off, and basically that's what it looks like when it's done. So put as much on if you're doing something like this as you want, or as little, or you can just leave it the original copper color, which is pretty too. It was just too shiny for me. So I am taking these are all picks from the Dollar Tree, and I am showing you how you can use a thrifted piece and put some of these stems in from the Dollar Tree, and maybe a pumpkin. You know, whatever color your decor is, you can put a white one, an orange one, a green one, you know, whatever works for you. You can put 2 or 3 of them. Those were not my colors. Those were picks that I had that I'm going to use in another project. But these I picked up from Michael's, and they were all 50% off. And these are my colors in my house, and where I want to hang this on my wall. This matches perfectly. So that's why I went to Michael's and bought florals. But Dollar Tree has some really nice stuff too, just not my colors, which are more of the muted colors. And so all these picks were 50% off. And I just glued the foam down there, and I'm not gluing these in. And the reason why is because I always place them first. Because if I don't like them, I can pull them out, replace them with something else, move them to another area. So I always place my things down first, stand back, get a good look at it, and then if I like it, then I go ahead and make it permanent by gluing it in. And so these are just, like I said, a couple pumpkin picks and some wheat, some mums, and they're all from Michael's, and then these berries here too, which I thought added a little bit of height. And I thought it needed another pumpkin. It was too gold. I had to put a little bit more. Like, this pumpkin is really pretty. I love it. It's like a light green. It's like a celery green. It's so pretty. And then I also thought it needed a few more florals, and these are from the Dollar Tree. And after I popped a few of those in, I thought, yep, that's it, perfect. So here's what it looks like hanging on my wall. I put another couple of those like goldish red picks into. And that's what it looks like hanging on my wall. Number 2. This was at Blue Pot, and I'm showing you my boo-boo. I was in a big hurry because I had too much going on, and I spray painted it outside, and it was too close. And you should do short bursts, about, I want to say like 10 inches away, if not 12 inches away. I just did one steady stream because I was in a hurry, and yeah, it dripped, and it was a mess. And then it wasn't cut quite dry, and I picked it up again because I was in a hurry, so it's got a little fingerprint on there. I can fix it, but I was going to distress this, and I decided not to because I just really, really loved this copper color. Now, these picks, the little wheat looking ones, are left over from what I used in my previous project. From Michael's at 50% off. I think they were like $5.99 or maybe $6.99 or something. And these mums are from the Dollar Tree, and they look beautiful together. And I think the only thing this piece is missing is a nice white pumpkin. Or that's kind of a greenish color pumpkin. And I just placed that in there, and I put it on my table next to my lamp and threw a candle in front of it. And this is what it looks like. I love it. These are bookends that I purchased at the thrift store, and they're very, very smooth and very, very shiny. So I wasn't sure what to do with these, but it worked out. These leaves are from the Dollar Tree. I'm only going to be using 2 of them. I think they come in a pack of 4 or 5, something like that. This is lightweight speckling from the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree also has Mod Podge, smaller container of it. I have some Crackle medium. I have Waverly chalk paint in mineral and plaster, and the Waverly antique wax. I also have hazelnut chalk paint. So now I took these leaves out, and I took this lightweight speckling, which I complain about this every time I use it, but I'm just using it up. It's just so lightweight. It's like really, I don't know, like spongy, and it's just really hard to get it in there. So you have to, to plug that hole. Every time you press it in, it comes out, it pulls out, so I had to put a big glob on the front and the back of this hole. So enough of my ranting about that. I like the heavier duty stuff, but I just didn't have it on hand. So now, while those are drying, I took these pieces and I had to put Mod Podge on them because they were so shiny. I wasn't sure that the chalk paint would adhere to this. I didn't even try to see if it did, but I just wanted it to stick. So I put this coat, and I would probably do a thinner coat, but put that on there and let that dry really well. I took a blow dryer in between all these layers to speed the process along. Now I have the hazelnut chalk paint, and I'm just putting just one coat on it. And it doesn't look much different than the piece itself, but that's the piece that I wanted you to see through when I put the Crackle on. Now after that dries really, really well, I'm just taking the Crackle medium and I'm spreading it on top of the dried chalk paint. And after that dries, I am putting on the mineral chalk paint. Now this coat needs to go on very quickly because as I am brushing it on, it's literally crackling before my eyes, as you can see. It's lifting, and so you have to work really, really fast with this. So now I'm taking a blow dryer to it, and it didn't crackle as much as I wanted it to. I mean, it did, but the problem was that the what do you call it, Mod Podge below it, I think it was buckling up because it's glue, and the blow dryer was melting that. But it worked out fine in the end, but I just really had no choice. So I sanded those leaves down after that filler was dry, and then I painted them real quick with a coat of plaster, and then that dried, and then I put a coat of the antique wax on it, and then I just kind of brushed it off lightly with a baby wipe. And now I'm just going to take them and hot glue them right on there. So hiding all the little areas that just didn't turn out to my liking, I'm just hiding them with the leaf with some hot glue on the back there. And the leaves were big enough that they covered all these pieces, or all these you know, little, I don't know, in my mind they were like boo-boos, errors. They just didn't look right, even though it was, you know, crackled. And there you have it. This is what they look like. I didn't put books in between them. That's a cloche. But it was just kind of a different idea, and this is what it looks like up close. The next project, and this is a fall lantern. This lantern I thrifted. It was $5.99, and I know I got it for 50% off because I usually don't buy things because our thrift stores here in Michigan, I don't know about you guys, they're pricey. They're getting pricey. I mean, I could go buy something brand new for almost the same price. Anyway, I was looking at the bottom of this to see if I had a clue where it came from, and I don't know, I couldn't tell. But anyway, somebody bought it, didn't like it, thrifted it, or I thrifted it. So now you want to see what, you know, determine what your focal point is going to be. Do you want it to be a pumpkin? Do you want it to be a critter like this owl? And these are all from the Dollar Tree. These candles, they have tall, thin ones, the flameless candles, and then they also have the shorter flameless candles too. So just determine what you want that middle piece to look like. So here I'm going to determine how tall I want my candle. Am I going to use one of these foam dice to put it, you know, rise it higher, or floral foam? You can if you're going to put picks in there. Here's some leaves that I love, these faux leather leaves. They have two different kinds, I think, the maple and the oak leaf. Pit berries, and all these picks are from the Dollar Tree. And those are the really pretty peach color leaves with the pumpkins and the berries on them. I love those, my favorite. And these are from Dollar Tree and Hobby Lobby. So I just pulled out from my stash all the different types of ribbon that will actually match those leaves. And sometimes if you go to Hobby Lobby and you look in their clearance section, you can get ribbon cheaper than what you can get at the Dollar Tree. So these are my selections right here. And they all match. They match the leaves. And there's that velvet pumpkin that's kind of a green color, and that orange one, and it all matches the owl and everything, but I don't end up using the owl or the orange pumpkin, but I do use the green one. So I'm going to glue, see where the writing is, I'm going to glue that to the bottom, obviously, for obvious reasons. And I'm going to use the short flameless candle. And I'm just, you know, looking at it, eyeing it to make sure that's about how tall I want it. And it is. So we'll get rid of the other candle, and we will start gluing first just the leaves down, not the berries and not the pumpkins, but just the leaves all around the bottom. And yes, do not use your scissors. Please use wire cutters because you will ruin your scissors. Like I said in another video, you can actually pull the leaves off, I started cutting them, and then I realized that I don't need to do that. I'm just gonna glue them right down to the lantern, and I didn't need that wire from the stem in there, so I just started pulling the leaves off. And you just put them all around the bottom, and you're hiding that foam cube there. And then the pit berries, and you want to put one on each side. If you put one on one side, put one on the other side, but don't put them exactly the same way. Kind of mix it up a little bit. Maybe one's down and maybe one's up. Same thing with the pumpkins. And I used the little orange pumpkins and then the little white pumpkins that I had. These are, again, all from the Dollar Tree. In here, I'm just trying to determine what pick I want to use. And I liked this color, but then I noticed it looked kind of like an octopus. I didn't like that, but I started adding the little greenery that came with that, and then I clipped down those pieces that are sticking out. And now it's time for the ribbon, and I apologize, I made this bow. I'm not the best bow maker, but I made it, and my footage got deleted somehow. I've been having problems with my phone camera. So it's a storage problem and my camera keeps shutting off. So anyway, basically I took, I think, 5 different types of ribbon, and you fold them over like 3 times or 4 if you want, and then you just put them on top of each other, and then I zip tied it in the middle. And then the most important thing is just fluff it. You just fluff it and fluff it and fluff it. And even when you're all done with your project, you're gonna probably fluff the bowl again. Anyway, I would tie this on with a chenille stick or a pipe cleaner. I had glued it on, I don't know why, I just did. And I wanted to use these leaves, these leather leaves, so I put them in there too. I don't really think that was necessary, but because you really can't see them too much, you're looking more at the candle, that's the focal point. But I don't know, I wanted to use them. And then trying not to hot glue that handle of the lantern down carefully. Just glue your leaves or flowers. You can use flowers or you can use both down. And then after I was done doing all that, I took these pit berries, and you can wrap them around a pencil. That's probably a better idea. I wrapped them around my finger, and this does not have to be perfect because, you know, stems and leaves are not perfect and they're not a perfect spiral, and, you know, just to make it look interesting and more natural. You know, pull some straight, have a couple spirals, pull it straight, and this is what it looks like when it's done. And I tied them on top of the handle, and I added that green pumpkin on there that I didn't show you in the picture, and I have another ribbon that I added on there too. And I just put a little glass pumpkin next to it, and if you're interested, I got that at Home Goods, and it was $9.99. I'll show you that. And so for DIY number 1, we're going to make wine cork pumpkins. So we'll need a glue gun, scissors, paintbrush, orange paint, brown paint, some embellishments like berries, leaves, raffia, and 21 wine corks, and make sure that they're cork and not plastic so the paint will adhere to them. So we're going to start by painting these wine corks, and I have this apple barrel acrylic, and it's called Harvest Orange, and just give it a shake and put it in whatever kind of container you like. I like these styrofoam bowls I had left over. They work real well when I'm painting. I can just wipe them out when I'm done and use them all over again. And then this Deco Art acrylic, and this is in the color Cinnamon Brown. So now I'm going to show you what not to do. I painted a lot of these ahead of time because there were 21 of them, and I painted them in orange, and this is 2 coats, and you can see right through the paint. So what I had to do was go back and paint brown over the orange, and just mostly just to hide the words. kind of as I'm doing here. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can make it sloppy just as long as you cover the words, and then do the top and the bottom of the cork too. And then now here I'll show you when you just paint it first with the brown, it covers it. And I put them in these bowls. It's a great way to dry them. And then now after they're dry, now I'm painting them back over with the orange, and including the top and the bottom. And here's what you have, 2 bowls of what looks like baby carrots to me. Anyway, take 7 of them and put 1 in the middle, and then 6 of them around the one. And then take a rubber band and tie them off. And then flatten them out. And then get your glue gun. And we're going to put glue in between each one of those. And I put a good amount in there. Make sure it doesn't drip through the bottom. And I made 3 of these. Push up that middle cork and then glue again, because I made 3 of them, and then put 1 with the cork pushed up on a flat one, and then the little one you're just going to push up the cork in the middle. I hope I'm explaining that right. This one I forgot and I glued it, so I just took a cork, cut it in half, and then hot glued it on the top. Any imperfections you can touch up at the end. Super simple. And now I'm going to glue these. I prefer the raffia, but I had these in my stash, so I thought I would maybe glue them on the end. See how the raffia just looks better to me. And then I had these leaves left over from a flower arrangement I made, and I'm just cutting them down to size. And I'm going to put 2 leaves on each one of these. And then pop that bow right in the middle. And then take those berries, and you can wrap them around a pencil. And then just hot glue it in place. And on the taller one, I put 2. One I wrapped around the pencil, and the other piece I just kind of, I don't know, bent it up and twisted it around to make it not look exactly like the other one. Carefully remove the rubber bands, and this is what they look like. A tall one, it's a double stack, and then the short one. You'll leave some Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster, Waverly clear sealer if you want to seal it, and a pumpkin of your choice, some berries, ribbon, and a pot. And if you can't find the pot from the Dollar Tree, I did see some at Michael's. And we're going to take that chalk paint and just start painting that pot. I did not paint the bottom here. You can if you like. And I put 2 coats on this. The first coat, it doesn't matter. I just kind of brushed it on. However, just make sure that it's not lumpy, that it doesn't have streaks or big clumps in it. With the second coat, I would be a little bit more careful and make sure you kind of paint from top to bottom or bottom to top. Make sure it's smooth. So 2 coats, let it dry. Put your sealer on if you want it sealed. Let that dry, and we're ready to put some ribbon of your choice. I selected this. I love this. I use this on a lot of my projects. And we're just going to hot glue it right around that edge. And this is what it looks like when it's done. And now you're going to take something to fill the bucket with, or the pot with. And I have a ton of these Dollar Tree bags. I'm sure you recognize them if you go there as much as I do. And I just took 2 of them and smushed them up and shoved them in that pot. Be careful, those pots are very fragile. Now I'm taking some Excelsior from the Dollar Tree. Or you can take raffia, whichever you prefer, or moss even. And I just put a big glob of hot glue and pushed it down in there. Be careful, I did burn myself, it's really hot. Now we're ready to give this pot a haircut. And now you just take the pumpkin of your choice. They have different colors. Some are tall, some are shorter. And you can even use a shiny one if you want. They have tons of them this year, but I like the sharp contrast. And we're just gonna glue it around the edges, and I'm gonna kind of put it down in the middle, kind of leaning up against the pot instead of straight down in the middle. Just hold it there for a second. And then now take some more hot glue, and where that pumpkin touches the edge of that pot, I went ahead and put some hot glue in there. If you want to make it more permanent, I would put E6000 in there and then, let it dry overnight. Now I take some pit berries or berry garland, whatever they call it now, wrap it around that pencil. And I just kind of bend it up in half and play with the ends a little bit until you get it how you like it. And then I just hot glue it down. Now you can put leaves on here. You can tie it off with a bow of raffia. You can use jute twine on it, whichever you prefer. DIY number 3, we're going to make a tier tray sign using one of these signs from the Dollar Tree, some corrugated cardboard, a word sign from the Dollar Tree, some paint, some Waverly antique paint, some pumpkins, jute twine, scissors, and a glue gun. And those pumpkins are from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to start by painting all of the pieces that need to be painted. So these little ones are from the Dollar Tree, and they have that clip on the back, and just go ahead and leave that because we will use that to our benefit later. And I'm using this Home Deco chalk paint in the color cement. Yeah. So give it a good shake and pour some in a bowl or on a plate and see how it's separated. So give that a good mix. And I put 2 coats on this little guy here because you could see the lines through the first coat, and just I put them on wax paper to let it dry. And this is Craft Smart acrylic paint in the color navy, and we're going to paint that pumpkin. And you don't have to use a chalk paint on the first one, that's just what I pulled out of my stash. So I already painted this with navy 2 coats and let that dry. And now the give thanks sign, and these are from the Dollar Tree as well. And I'm going to paint that with the cement gray, just like the first little pumpkin. And I only put 1 coat on this because I kind of liked how it looked just with 1 coat. And you don't have to paint the edges because they look like they're already kind of stained brown. And let that dry. And now we're going to fit that corrugated cardboard inside there. So I have this in my stash, and it's really thin, like construction paper, so it was kind of pliable. But I didn't want to pop that sign out, so I was trying to figure a way how to fit that in there. And it was a little bit easier because, there's lines in this. Now, if you can't find this, I know you can find it online. If you can't find it, you can use any kind of paper that you want. And I just kind of measured it and drew a line there with a pen and cut it. And then I kind of cut it a little bit bigger, you know, just to make sure it gets a good fit in there. And then I realized that those pieces there on top from the hanger were kind of in the way, so I slipped it under there. You may want to clean those up there and cut them off beforehand. And so now we're going to take that antique wax and we're going to distress some of these pieces now that they're dry. And I put kind of a lot on because I really wanted that word to pop. And when I was done, I dry brushed it across the words, across the center, but left the highlight of the outside of the letters darker. And I did the same thing with this pumpkin here. And then this blue one, I decided to use the gray. As you can tell, I glapped it on and it didn't look so good, so that's okay. I just picked up some of the more navy paint and a baby wipe and kind of, you know, played with it. And you can draw like squiggly lines in it, or you can highlight the top of the pumpkin more, however you like it. You just kind of got to play with it a little bit. Don't be afraid because you can always paint over it. So now we're going to take the twine and we're going to hot glue it around the top of that. And so here I'm trying to figure out how not to burn my finger since I do it so often. And then I remembered I had that little finger protector from the Dollar Tree. And then just wrap it around a ton of times, and I get that top really good too. Almost glue it right off the edge on that top so you can't see any wood at all. And then you just cut it down, and as you can tell, that pumpkin wasn't dry because I have glue, or not glue, paint. I have glue on my hands too, but I also have paint all over my fingers. Sorry about that, it was just a little sloppy. I'm a little impatient, I guess. And now I'm going to make 2 bows out of this jute for the pumpkins. A bigger one for the larger pumpkin and a smaller one for the smaller pumpkin. It's just a shoelace bow. And then I'm going to kind of put it on an angle because I like to put a lot of my designs on an angle for some reason. I think it just gives it more interest. And here's the little gray pumpkin, and so we're going to glue it right on that clothespin so it gives it some depth. Now we're going to put that give thanks sign on, and of course, you know, I'm going to put it on an angle, but you can put it however you want. You can put it on the bottom, you can put it on the top, in the middle. And it looks a little plain, so that's why I made those bows. Thought it would dress it up a little bit. And there you go. Now here's a different variation. I just used orange, and I think the orange was a terracotta, the darker orange, in a different sign, word sign. And here's a different variation. It's kind of the same thing. I just painted the inside and put burlap, and I didn't use words, and just put that pumpkin in there with some of those pit berries. And that's it. Here's the first piece. This could be a shelf sitter or a wall hanging. And these are the pieces you're going to need. This is from the Dollar Tree. It's just a square picture frame. I like the black frame around it. That's why I'm using it. And this is from the Dollar Tree. I did get this last year, but I think I saw some again this year. I haven't been to the Dollar Tree too much lately. You're going to need some Aleene's tacky glue and a piece of cardstock or paper you can get from any craft store. Now I'm going to show you 4 different papers, so you can change the look any way you want. So we're just going to glue the paper in there, and this is more of a farmhouse look with the pumpkin. If you want it a little bit more jazzy, we have this leopard, or is it cheetah look paper, and that looks pretty cool too, I think. And then this is a little bit more, I don't know, kind of Halloweenish, or maybe even a little bit more classic. And this is a little bit more fun. They're just a bunch of different colors of polka dots and kind of like fall Halloween color. And so I'm just showing you the difference. And here I just switch the paper. The lines go up and down or sideways. And we're also going to need some of these foam stickers. You can get them from the Dollar Tree. These I just got from Walmart, yes. So I'm just trying to decide which paper I like best and which paper is going to look good, because I want to put the word harvest on here. So which paper are the word going to look the best, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I chose that one, a more farmhouse looking piece. And I'm just taking all the tags and everything off of both of these pieces. We're just going to measure what part of the paper that you want to use, and then put the sign in the middle and draw, a square around it, cut it out. Super simple. This is so simple, like I said, easy and inexpensive. And those papers you could get from, I think mine are either from Michael's or Hobby Lobby, probably Hobby Lobby, and they're like $1 a piece or something. I don't remember. They're not very much money. So now I'm just going to spread this tacky glue all over the piece here, the cardboard piece. Get the corners and the sides really good. And I'm just going to press that paper right down on that and push out all the creases and bubbles and whatnot. See how easy this is? And now we just pop it right back into the frame. And we're going to glue that pumpkin down. I'm going to put the word harvest in there. So I wasn't sure if I wanted it on top or the bottom. So I always place my pieces before I make them permanent. And so this is easier because this paper has lines in it. So I'm just going to write or stick down the word harvest. So a capital H and a capital T, and then A-R-V-E-S-T. in lowercase. And so if you start with the H and the T, the beginning and the end, and then put the middle V in the middle, then you can fill the rest in. It makes it easier that way. If you don't have lines like this paper, you're probably going to have to use a ruler, but no big deal. It's easy. And I had to move that T over, and it tore the paper a little bit. So now I'm going to hide it with this little flower and a leaf. I'm gluing the little bow back on there that I took off earlier. And I'm going to put some leaves on the pumpkin also. And then I put some pit berries up on top where the flower is. And there you have it. I don't know how long that took me to make, not very long. With filming and everything, probably all of 10 minutes to do the whole entire thing. This is the next piece. It's a scarecrow holding a pumpkin. And I believe these are all from the Dollar Tree with the exception of the paint. So you're going to need a scarecrow, the bigger one. Any pumpkin will do. I had this from last year. I didn't use that welcome sign. I had a harvest sign that I used instead, but you can use any word that you want. Some picks, and then I pointed at that pumpkin that bounced off my counter onto the floor. You'll need a littler one or a smaller one than that. I have 3 different containers of chalk paint, plaster, maize, and pumpkin. And those, I believe I got all those from Walmart. And I took off all the pieces because I won't be using them. The leaf that in the bow and all that. And this is the pumpkin chalk paint. And I painted a really good coat on that and let it dry. And now I'm putting some baking soda in here with the plaster chalk paint for texture. Now what I probably should have done is put this in with the pumpkin paint to give it texture instead of the, I'm distressing it now. It did give it texture, but I think it would have looked a lot better had I put it in and made it kind of more lumpy and bumpy like a pumpkin is. But it worked fine. And so I'm just distressing this, and go ahead and have fun with this. I mean, you can't go wrong. If you mess it up, if you hate it, you can just paint right over it. And now I'm taking the maize, the yellow color here, and I'm just going around and giving it some added dimension. And that harvest sign, those are from the Dollar Tree too. And I just give it 3 good coats of, and here's another chalk paint called ink. So, and it's black basically. So 3 good coats, and let it dry between each coat because it'll wipe right off of the metal. And so now this is apple barrel, and it's the burnt umber, and I'm just kind of drawing some lines and giving it a little bit of shadowing here and there. And then I'm taking my finger and kind of smearing it just a little bit. And like I said, have fun with this. I mean, it really is like stress relieving when you do things like this. And if you don't like the paint on your hands, wear, a glove, a rubber glove or something, or you can take a baby wipe or a paper towel or something, but just go ahead and have fun. And maybe look at some pictures of pumpkins, and pumpkins are not perfect. They're not all the same color, as you all know, and I'm just highlighting it, and that's what it looks like up close. And like I said, you can always paint right over it, and you can paint this any color. If you want a green pumpkin, a purple pumpkin, go for it. Whatever your colors are, use those. And now I am putting the scarecrow on the back because he's supposed to be holding the pumpkin. And I glued his legs up because I don't want his legs hanging down. I just put a little bit of glue because I might use that for another idea probably next year. So now I'm wrapping his arms around the pumpkin and just gluing it. And yes, it is 6:15 at night and somebody's cutting their grass. So I'm sorry, but the sound might get a little weird here, but I can't do anything about it. Okay, so now just take whatever colors you like, whatever colors match your decor, or if this is going to be a gift, whichever colors match the decor. If you want something neutral, paint the pumpkin white or off-white, and you can put white flowers with just a hint of some red or some gold with just a touch of it. I like a little bit more heavier. I love these fall colors. Fall's my favorite season. Is fall your favorite season? Let me know. I just love everything about it. And I'm here in Michigan, so we get some really beautiful foliage too. And our trees are starting to change just a little bit right now. So anyway, as you can see, I glued the harvest sign on there. Metal gets really, really hot when it gets heated, and that includes the hot glue on it. So make sure that you're very careful that you don't get the glue on your hand and on the metal. I've done it, and it hurts really bad. Anyway, not funny, but I've done it a few times, and you would think that by now I would know, but yeah, no. So I put a little pumpkin in here, and I put those big berries. All these picks are from the Dollar Tree, by the way. And I put some pit berries in there, and obviously, or basically what I'm doing is I am just building it up, and building it up. But you really don't want to hide his arms holding onto the pumpkin, because that's the whole idea of it. And then I have this ribbon, and I cut one probably about 6 inches long, and then the other one I cut 5 inches long, and I dovetailed both ends on both pieces. Took a little bit of jute, tied it up in the middle. I fluffed it out a little bit, and I'm going to put it right there on the stem. And here's some pit berries, and I just wrapped them around my finger so they made like a little curlicue. Pulled them off, and I'm just gluing one little piece on one side and a little piece on the other side. So here is the first craft that we're going to make, and this is the camouflage wreath. And these are the items that you're going to need. From the Dollar Tree, a pumpkin wire wreath form. And this I got from the Dollar Tree too. I believe it's a size small, and it's a camouflage t-shirt. It has long sleeves on it. I didn't use that flower, but any kind of florals and picks of your choice. I love the full leather leaves, so we're going to try to incorporate that. And also the, I don't know what you call it, a tag. One is a pumpkin, one is a maple leaf. I think this one says gather or thankful or something. Anyway, there's a couple different ones that you can get. Take the t-shirt, remove all the tags. Take the t-shirt and put it over the pumpkin. And this is stretchy t-shirt material. And then I just cut it off, cut the top off, make sure you don't get that little pink saying that's up there on the pumpkin. And then you take that off the pumpkin. So basically, I just measured it. Take it off the pumpkin, and I turned it inside out. And so now this is one whole piece, not the whole piece. This will make 2 pumpkins. So basically, I'm just going to cut it down both sides so I have 2 pieces. And now, I struggled with this for a while. I wasn't sure how to do this, but I figured it out. You just take it and put the material down flat on a flat surface, and you take the pumpkin wreath where the pumpkin is curved, goes on top of that, like that. And don't pull it taut, because you're going to want to see the lines of the pumpkin through the material. So the best way I figured how to do this was to, before I hot glued it, was to clip it to keep the material up there, and then hot glue it around the clips, and then remove the clips and hot glue that. You'll see what I mean in a second. And any leftover loose material, you can just fold it in. So you're going to fold it all in on itself, and you're just going to start hot gluing it where it touches the wire. So hot glue basically all of the wires. In the inside, because you're going to be able to see those wires through the pumpkin. And then any excess material, when you're all done hot gluing this, I just cut it off so it doesn't look like a big old glob of material on the back. And you just keep folding it in on itself like that. Be careful. Yes, I'm being very careful because I've burned myself a gazillion times with hot glue. And this is how I did the stem. I pulled that taut over the stem. And then, you know, I glue the side and then fold the top down. And I put a clip there to hold that there so I can hot glue the other side. So glue the wire, or put glue on the wire, and then you can pull that taut over the stem. And then after that's dry, you can remove the clip and glue underneath the clip and it'll stay. And that's what it looks like when it's done. And do you see how the material is loose? That's purposely so you can see the pumpkin image. Now we're going to take some jute twine from the Dollar Tree. And the best way I know how to do this is to just tie it in the back. And then just wrap it around, wrap it around, wrap it around. I think I put 2 wraps on that. And then when you get to the top, glue it and put a clamp on it. And then just start putting your picks up there. I wanted to make this look, because it's camouflage, I wanted the leaves and the greenery and everything I chose to really kind of camouflage into the pumpkin. And then I put that leaf up there, not the leaf, the white flower up there. And then I took this is a 2-piece thing, the leaf and the pumpkin, and I think this one says blessed on it. And I glued it up there, but I didn't like it. I didn't like that big white flower. It did not look natural. I wanted it to look natural. So I dropped that leather leaf down there, glued it underneath the leaf so you don't see it. I added a couple acorns, and then I took those little teeny white daisies and I stuck them in there, and I thought it looked more natural that way. So those are the only 2, and excuse my closet on the side there. It's a little messy closet. I should have closed the doors, but I didn't. This is how we live. Anyway, but this is what it looked like, and I love it. I'm very proud of it, and there's just something different and unique and non-traditional. And this is the second craft, and it's a pumpkin pie plate, and it's a floral wall hanging. So I have these 2 chalk paints, and flowers and ribbon and whatever kind of enhancements you want to use, acorns, pit berries, whatever, pie plate from the Dollar Tree. These 2 chalk paints are hazelnut and truffle. You want to make sure your pan is clean, and I just literally put 1 coat on here. And then just on the outside, you're not going to see the inside because the pumpkins and the florals are going to be there, so just on the outside pan, not on the back. So 1 coat on the top and on the side. And then this got a little messy, but I wanted to put it on very lightly, and it came, I don't know, I guess it was just a little bit dark. So I took a baby wipe and I just started wiping it off, because I wanted to just kind of slightly distress it so it looked two-tone, like a darker beige and a lighter beige. And so this is what it looks like when it's dry. And then you just take your 3 pumpkins, and these little ones from the Dollar Tree, and I think maybe one might be from Walmart, but they're kind of all the same price. They're all the same size. They fit perfectly in the pie pan. It's really hard for me to say 3 times. Say that 3 times. Anyway, just hot glue them down. And you can use any color. I just love the gold and the cream and the green together, but you can use any color that you want. If you like orange, you can use orange, orange and brown, blue. They have all kinds of colors of pumpkins these days, which, you know, is really kind of cool because it fits into anybody's decor. It really can. So anyway, after you're done with that, then you take this rope from the Dollar Tree, and I really hot glue that end there because the end will ravel. So I really get the glue in there really good. And then I just wrap the rope around that ledge of the pie pan and glue that down. And then obviously cut it at the end, and then I kind of really mashed that end into the other end so it's not as visible. So I put a lot of hot glue in there and took my little, well, I guess I took my scissors here, but usually I have my little spatula. And you just really mash that down and mash it together. And I should have said in the beginning, make sure or determine what you want the bottom of your pie pan to be. So mine is the green and the gold pumpkin. And that's where the rope is going to start and end, because we're going to put stuff there and hide it. Anyway, so now we're going to take that Spanish moss, also from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to stuff it in there in all the little nooks and crannies where you can see the pan, all around the side and some in the middle. And there's my spatula. It's very helpful. Take the picks of your choice. These that I have in my hand are from Walmart. No, not Walmart, Hobby Lobby. And I know I probably got them at 40% off or more, I'm sure, because I don't buy anything, hardly anything ever for full price like this craft stuff. These were $3.99. I'm sure I got them for $2.50 or something like that, maybe $2. And these are a little bit thicker, so you're not going to want to use the scissors because you'll ruin them, so you want to use your wire clippers. And wire clippers aren't all that expensive, really. So invest in some of those before you ruin your scissors, because then you'll have to buy another new pair of scissors. Anyway, I clipped them all off, and I clipped those leaves off too. And I just started putting the little berries in. And you don't want them to be perfect. You don't want one on one end, one on the other end. You don't want it to match. You kind of want it to just put them kind of a little bit here and there and everywhere. So in other words, don't go around the whole pan. You can see what I'm doing here. And then I should have probably put the leaves down first, but I didn't. So now I'm going to have to tuck the leaves underneath, which is not a big deal. And then this is I think it's like wheat. And so I'm putting those in. And then those are the berries from the Dollar Tree. They're the like greenish coloring the greenish colored ones. And then if there's a little white berry, like part of the berry is missing, you just get some paint that matches it. Doesn't even have to match it perfectly, and just dab it on there, or you can even clip it out too. So now I'm just going through, I just pulled all of my flowers that kind of match, and all my grasses and greenery that kind of has those same colors in it. I just put a big, bunch down on the table, and I'm just kind of looking like, what do I think would go with my decor? What do I like? What matches? And you just start putting the different picks in. And like I said, don't make it perfect. Kind of make it, if one's pointing up, on the opposite side, maybe point the other one kind of sideways or down. Anyway, so just kind of eyeball it, and I thought it needed something a little bit more, so these acorns are from the Dollar Tree. And I just placed them in there, and I liked where they were, what they looked like in there, so I hot glued them. Now I'm going to take this ribbon that I bought from Hobby Lobby, and it was in the clearance section, and it was like, I think 75 cents or 79 cents or something like that. Cheaper than the Dollar Tree, but you can use the Dollar Tree stuff. But if you go to Hobby Lobby, Joann Fabrics, Michaels, even Target, thrift stores, look for this kind of stuff. I mean, I have found a ton of really great stuff even at thrift stores. You buy a wreath, you pull it all apart, you can use the wreath form. So I just tied this into a shoelace bow, and you kind of play with it a little bit, and I dovetailed the ends of it, and I'm just trying to figure out where I want to glue it in. And apparently I liked it right there, so that's where it goes. And then when I was done, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that looks great. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, now what do? You put it on the counter? No, you probably want to hang it on the wall. So we're gonna put a hanger on it. Same rope that we used from the Dollar Tree. You're gonna find where the bottom is, and then you're going to place it on the back that's above the bottom, obviously. and give it, I think that's about 2 inches. You can make it longer, you can make it shorter, and then just hot glue that into place. And actually I only hot glued the bottom of that, but then I hung it on my wall and then I realized it was kind of floppy, so I hot glued it more going up and just left a little bit on top to hang, you know, on the wall, and you'll see it in a second. And there it is on my wall. You can see the top, how I glued it more so going all the way up. Project. We are going to make this, and for the fourth one, make this. So for the first one, and they're different. This I bought from Home Goods and it was $5.99, and it already had this wood piece and it already had the rope on it and the glass jars in it. So I thought, you know, I'm gonna buy it and make something with it. I thought it was a decent price. These picks are the shorter ones and further from the Dollar Tree, and of course we have ribbon and jute and picks, and I just, you know, go through your stash or go to the store, buy the pieces that all match together, and that's what you're going to use. Just make sure everything somewhat matches. So I had these 3 picks, and this is so super easy. I didn't glue anything down. I just clipped them all with my wire clippers and kind of put them in the glass jars. But really, if you want this to last, you're going to want to glue the glass jars down. You're going to want to put styrofoam in the glass jars to poke your flowers in, and you're going to want to glue all that in. And so I thought it just looked kind of bare. So now I'm going to take this ribbon again. You can take whatever ribbon you like. I really love this maple leaf ribbon though from Hobby Lobby. But like I said, it was on clearance. But I like the pumpkin ribbon too, and that's from the Dollar Tree. And then I just glue it all around the top. And then you can see those jars are kind of lame. There's nothing in them. I would put Spanish moss. I would put the foam in there so you can put the flowers in, and then you really won't be able to see through it. But here, just for video purposes, I didn't glue anything down, but I'll go back in and glue it later. And these also are the berries from the Dollar Tree, and that's just super simple, and you see these everywhere. They're like $19.99, $24.99. Anyway, so if you can't find one of those at Home Goods, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, here's an option. These are ball jars. You can use them. You can use these Frappuccino glasses. I have used these before. It's kind of hard to get those sticky stickers off, but it's doable. Or you can do like an olive jar. I mean, and then I went to the Dollar Tree today, and there are so many different options you can use. But if you use this little, like, I think that's an olive jar, you can put 4 in there. But if you use these bigger ball jars, you're only going to use 2 because it won't fit anymore, and they fit in there very, very tight. So anyway, the antique Waverly Antique Wax is what we're going to use to stain the crates. And as you probably know, the crates are from Dollar Tree. Make sure you have wax paper down there to protect your surface and so the paint doesn't stick. So stain it everywhere, and I did not stain the insides, but you should. And you don't have to stain the two sides that you glue together because you're not going to see them. But I would stain the top, the bottom, all the sides, the whole thing. So these are also from Hobby Lobby, and they're just like little plastic half beaded rounds. I don't know what they are. They're like little plastic, they're like a half of a bead, I guess. And we're just going to use these as nail heads. And these were on clearance, did I say? They were 75%. I mean, that's a deal. So I bought both the gold and the silver. And I just put them on both sides. I didn't put them around the top because we're gonna put the ribbon around the top. And this is the pumpkin burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And if you didn't want to use ribbon, you could use these little plastic beads. They look like nail heads, and you can put them on the top and the bottom on both sides. That's fine too. It's all what your taste is. And I would glue these pieces down to the wood crate too, the glasses. Now you can use jute twine from the Dollar Tree, or you can use the rope. And I figured I'll use the rope. This is what it looks like when it's done, and we're ready for our flowers. These are kind of the same colors, but they're slightly different flowers. I just grabbed something different to give you a little bit of a variation. But as you can see here now, I am hot gluing the foam down to the bottom. Then I'm putting in the Spanish moss. And I think this just gives it a nice touch. It just adds more interest, just other than seeing the stem through the glass jar or vase that you do so often see now in decor. And these are, a little bit cheaper stems because they're all from the Dollar Tree, so you can tell they're cheaper. So the Spanish moss just kind of hides all that. And so I am just poking the bigger flowers first, and then these little teeny ones, everywhere, in the front, in the back, on the sides, in the middle. And now I'm going to make a bow out of the twine, and you just wrap it around your hand. I don't know how many times I did here. It looks like 6 or 7 times. And then you cut the end off, take it off your hand, and you kind of twist it together and wrap that one piece around. And then I tie it with the other piece. And you kind of got to play with it a little bit, but I just wrapped it around, and then I stuck it up. You can see I'm pulling that out. You stick the end through there, and then you pull it tight so it won't come loose. And we're going to hot glue it, so it's not going to come loose anyway. And you kind of fluffy it out a little bit. Now you can put it on the front like that, or you can put it on the glass jar, but I put it on the glass jar. And obviously clip the ends off. And this is what they look like together. The one on the left is the store-bought and the enhanced, and then the one on the right here are the crates from the Dollar Tree, and they're not all that much different. I mean, the colors are different, but in the crates slightly different, but there's not a whole lot of difference here. So there's a couple bucks less. This is a lighted scarecrow, and not scarecrow, gnome. It's a gnome because this video is all about gnomes. So you're going to need a bowl, and you're going to need some raffia, and then a foam cone. I thrifted that, but I know you can get them like Michael's or any craft store. You're also going to need some, this is a hula skirt, some raffia, some buttons, some flowers, leaves, ribbon. This little fuzzy ball is going to be the nose, but you can do many things with the nose or for the nose, and then obviously some lights and some batteries. So I got this piece from Walmart. It is a huge piece. I got it about probably 2 years ago. I don't remember how much I paid. It wasn't a whole lot of money, and there's a ton here. And so I just measured the cone and then cut a square out of it, and then rolled it up in the cone and just put a little bit of hot glue in the middle and then almost all the way up, but not quite in the bottom yet, and not quite all the way up to the top yet, and cut off the excess. This is a plate from my cupboard, and I just cut a small or a circle out of that, because that's going to be like the rim of the hat. Then put that aside. And now I have this hula skirt or raffia or whatever you have, and I'm going to slide this hat off, and I'm going to take a rubber band, and I'm going to tuck in all these pieces of your raffia, or this in my case is a hula skirt, but it's kind of the same thing. It's almost the same material. And this is going to be the scarecrow's hair. So determine where the front is going to be. And I put the scarecrow's hair all the way around the back, and make it as thick as you want. And then I put another rubber band on there, and I hot glued it, and I made bangs. So the front of it, the raffia is going to be shorter. And now here's that round circle that I cut out, and I cut a circle out of the middle of it. You just fold it in half. And then I popped it over on that hat, and now I'm gluing it down. And I'm taking some more raffia, and I'm just tying them with some jute, a big chunk of them, and we're going to hot glue them into the top of the hat. And then I take some jute and I wrap it around there several times just to kind of finish it off, I guess. And now for the gnome's beard, we're taking more of this, and I just used the top of the hula skirt, and I just glued just a bunch around the front. This will be the front because it's the gnome's beard. You'll see in a second. I hope this is making sense. And then I just gathered it and cut it off. And then I glued a little bit down, kind of so you can't really see through it. And I glued that little fuzzy piece nose on there. And now I'm going to make just kind of a little design for the bottom of the hat. So I took this orange raffia that I believe I also got from Walmart, and I just went ahead and glued that piece around just to cover up that seam there that you can see. And now I'm cutting a little piece of that just kind of for a little patch. And I'm putting a leaf and a flower on the front. And then a little button on that patch there. And these are some lights, obviously. And you could put more raffia in there if you can see through it, or you can put leaves in there. And this is what it looks like. It's sitting on top of like a candle pedestal type thing. And this is my third DIY. This is a napkin. And I got those from TJ Maxx. They were $3.99. The wood board is cutting board from the Dollar Tree. You're going to need Mod Podge and some saran wrap and some paint. And this is truffle. So I'm just painting the board. and then I wipe most of the paint off, and then if you get a piece of tape, you can pull the plies, so you only want the top sheet. So this was a 3-ply, and I cut off the border there because we're going to use that. And now I have a brush, just a paintbrush, and I have water on it because I'm going to tear the edges. And I did that to all the sides because I want it to look like it's kind of worn. And I did that all the way around. And now that the board is dry from the first coat of paint, I put Mod Podge on it. And I'm going to lay my napkin right in the middle of that and just tap it very, very lightly. Same thing with these little, the border that I cut off. I'm just going to put a piece on one side and a piece on the other side and tap it again very, very lightly. And then you get that saran wrap, and it looks like I'm pushing hard here, but I'm not. I just have this video at like ×5 right now because there's so many projects. I don't want to make it too long for you guys. But anyway, you just keep tapping very lightly and then let that dry. Let it dry well because you take a sanding block and sand up. Don't pull the paper down or, down across the board. You're going to sand up and away. And that takes all of the edges off of it. And then at the end, you're going to put another coat of Mod Podge on it to protect it. And this is what that looks like. And here's the next idea. And these are those, I don't know if they're ceramic gnomes, but they're from the Dollar Tree and they're not really pretty. The colors. So we're gonna make them over. So you need a couple socks for the hats, and some flowers, leaves, picks, whatever you want the gnomes to hold, and some ribbon. I have this Waverly paint, white and truffle, and some yarn, and for the girl's hair, and also some raffia. So I am painting. I'm going to give you a couple different ideas that you can do with these. So I painted them all white, and I'm letting them dry. I took I took 6 strands of yarn, 2 in each, and then I braided them together. I tied them off at the bottom with a little piece of raffia. I made a bow. And then I tied it off on top too with the raffia to hold it together. And then I just trim the end. So we have 2 of them. And now, while the paint's still drying, I saw this mushroom and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to paint this too, because I've been wanting to paint the mushroom and I just threw them in this with the gnomes. So I painted them and let them dry. And when they're done, you can either use that clear coat from Waverly, or you can use Mod Podge and put a coat all over them and let them dry. And that takes a while to dry. So the first idea is you can take, after they're all dry, you can take them and kind of rough them up with a sanding block, and you can leave them like that and they look kind of cool. But we're not going to do that. We're going to take it even further, and I have this truffle paint, and I'm just kind of outlining the male gnome, the beard, just to give it some definition, and painting the braids on the female gnome. Now I took this little sock here. I'm going to use it for the male gnome's hat. And it kept rolling on me, and I was trying not to burn my hands, so I had to do it little by little and clip it and keep folding it, and that took a little while. And now, when it's dry, I'm going to glue it just over the hat that's already there. And then now just take some jute and tie it off at the top there. And now I have this, I didn't use that flower, I used a white one. I thought the white one looked better, but I was trying to find something that was small, but I had either real tiny or, I don't know, small but not the right size, but I think it turned out fine. And then now I thought I would put some ribbon, and this is from the Dollar Tree too, around the edge of the hat, just to kind of finish the hat, I think. And he's holding a flower, so I'm just kind of putting another flower right on top of that. And this is acrylic paint. It's just tan, any kind of paint, pink or whatever color you want the gnome's nose is fine. I painted both the female and the male's gnomes, their gnome noses and their hands in that color. And now I'm gluing the braids right over the other female gnome's braids, and I tucked them underneath that hat. So I took the other sock, the white one, and I tucked them under there and glued that on. And I'm going to make a nice little bow out of raffia. Why do I keep saying raffia? It's jute. You guys know what it is. And then again, I'm just going around the edge here with the same ribbon I used on the male gnome. And that's what they look like. And I did paint the shoes on the gnome too. The male has the shoes, and I painted them in that truffle too. So now back to the mushroom, and I'm sorry it's partially out of the screen, but I just splattered that. You get a paintbrush slightly wet, just slightly wet, put the chalk paint on it or whatever kind of paint you use, and then just tap and pencil against that, and it splashes like little polka dots all over the mushroom, and that's what I do. So you need 2 of these pumpkin wreath forms and something for the base. I'm using this piece. I haven't seen these this year, but I had some left over from last year, but they do have these, and if they don't have those, I know probably every single Dollar Tree has these green foam pieces, and you can always just wrap that in burlap. And if you can't find burlap, you can use ribbon. They have this green ribbon. I know they have orange, and they have brown, and all different kinds of ribbon. Anyway, they have these flowers and some raffia we're going to need also, and these leaf garlands and some beads. One of these hangers. And these zip ties, or you can use pipe cleaners, some lights, and make sure you have batteries. And they have abundance of different kinds of lights that you can use if you can't find the pumpkin ones. Anyway, you're going to take the wreath forms, both of them, and you're going to bend them, not all the way together, but halfway. So if you bend both of them halfway, then we can put them together, and I'll show you here. And see, they fit together very nicely. And the bottom somewhat forms a circle, and we're going to attach it onto this wreath, and that is going to be the base, and we're going to use a zip tie. Now you can use floral wire to attach it. I don't recommend hot glue because I don't think metal and wood will stay together real well. You can also use pipe cleaners. And so I'm tying this on 4 times. As you can see, there are 4 zip ties on, or maybe there's 5 actually, but just get it good and tied on there tight so it holds up, so it stays together. And now I'm going to put a couple zip ties on both sides there to hold the wreath forms together. And that's what it looks like. And now the top, don't worry, those will come together. I am just taking the jute twine from the Dollar Tree and I'm tying it around a couple times just to get it to stay. Then I'm going to wrap it around a bazillion times and hot glue here and there so it holds together, and just keep on pushing it down. So now we take the lights and we put it on the inside. We fold them in half, and then I zip tie to the top and then to each side. Now if I were to do this over again, I would use 2 lights. So you have 4 hanging down from the top to the bottom because it will be lighter, but I didn't have 4. My other ones were broken or they didn't work. So anyway, and make sure you have the batteries and make sure they light up before you zip tie them on there. And then I am going to zip tie. First I wrap that around a couple times, and then I'm going to zip tie the wire onto that in case you need to replace the batteries. Now we take the beads, and you can make a beaded garland if you want, but these are from the Dollar Tree. And so tie it to the one end, or tie the one end off, I should say, probably double knot it. And then I take it and tie it to the top. So you'll have to adjust to see how long that you want it. So pick it up and then see how long you want that to hang down. I think mine was about 3 or 4 inches long. The loop of the beaded garland should be at the bottom, hanging down the bottom. So tie it to the top, put a little bit of hot glue up there, and then have the beads hang down at the bottom with the loop. Because now here, I hope that makes sense to you guys. Here, I'm just going to wrap this around my hand again a bazillion times. To tie it off in the middle and double knot it. And then you cut the loops in half. And see these long pieces here? Do not cut them off. Leave one long piece on the end because that's how we're going to attach it through the loop of the bottom of the beaded garland. And I got a little scissor happy here. I don't know why. I would not trim these until we're already done, hanging it or tying it onto the bottom of the beaded garland. I just kept trimming and trimming and trimming, and it's probably a good idea that I'm not a hairdresser because my client would be bald or they would have a pixie, because I don't know what I was thinking, but this was way too little. But I mean, in the end it looks good, but I just got a little scissor happy, I guess. So now you take and you fold it in half, and then you take a piece of the twine, a long piece, and then you wrap it around, I don't know, about 8 times, 10 times. Just keep wrapping it, wrapping it, wrapping it, and then you tie it. And I hope you can see how I just tied it off here. So there's a little tassel hanging down at the end, but that's why I said don't trim it until afterwards, because mine was just so short. I wish I would have made it longer, but that's okay. So still keep that piece on the top. As you can see, I have that little piece. And then you want to fluffy it out a little bit here. And then that loop there, that's what we're going to do. We're going to tie it onto the loop. And then when I did that, I realized there's just too much string. So I have a bazillion beads, and I grabbed a couple of the bigger ones just to hide the extra, you know, because either you'll see it on the top or the bottom, the extra string. So a couple beads there. Now it hides the string, and now I'm going to tie it on. And that's what it looks like. So now we're going to take the leaves and we are going to tie them on. You could use, again, pipe cleaner, floral wire, twisty ties. You could use zip ties, which I'm using. Or you could use raffia. I guess I'm using raffia, because then you don't really see the zip ties, and I think the raffia just gives it that kind of fall feeling. Now what I would do in this flower here, I'm going to glue that on the top by the stem. What I would do with the leaves though, I would do them around the bottom, and I would probably clip them off of the garland, because it's just easier to work with. So I would put them around the bottom, and then I would put more leaves on them, and then I would hang them down like 6 rolls from the top to the bottom. Anyway, and now just take this hanger. Also, all this stuff is from the Dollar Tree. Everything that you see in this whole entire video is from the Dollar Tree, obviously, except like the scissors and the glue gun and all that. So there are 3 chains hanging down, and just clip them on the top. And there you have it. This is a really quick, easy, simple project, and I have a hook hanging from my wood porch ceiling there. And this is what it looks like at night. And that's it. It's a little crooked, and that's because of the battery pack was pulling it down, but you can adjust that. Anyway, the next project, I'm gonna make a couple porch lanterns. And they have these at the Dollar Tree. They have the black ones and the blonde ones. You're gonna need one of these lights, which actually you really don't need, but I made one with and one without. Some ribbon that you can see through, and some batteries. And these lights, they're not fairy lights, but fairy lights would probably look really pretty. Any kind of lights I think would look really pretty. You'll need not those beads that I showed you. You'll definitely need some dowel rods, and you'll need some leaves for decoration. A glue gun, scissors, and lots of Gorilla Glue, my favorite, and maybe a cup of coffee. So you take 4 of these, and I am removing the hangers from them. And we're going to use them again, so don't cut them. I just take and poke them right back through the hole there. And see that's pretty rough. I would sand it a little bit. And then look at both sides. Usually one has a scratch or a gouge or something. That will be the inside of the lantern. The nicer side will be the outside. So I have a wood crate here to balance the lantern because I didn't know what else to use, and it was heavy and it worked really well for me. But any type of a heavy box or something square will work. So you're going to want to put the less perfect side on the inside, and you're going to want to line them up so the top, because these are from the Dollar Tree, you know they're not perfect. So the bottom is going to be more, how do I say this, in line. So if the top overhangs a little bit, that's okay, because we we can always hide that with leaves and decorations, but the bottom should be pretty even with each other, all 4 pieces. So now I just run a bead of glue on the inside from the top to the bottom. And you're probably going to have to hold this for a little bit to let it dry. And if you want, you can use a more permanent glue like E6000 or wood glue. I think wood glue would probably work on this. And then I run another bead of glue down there, and I put a dowel rod in there. These are round, square might work a little bit better. Or you know, else you can do for the purpose of this video, I was kind of in a hurry, but you could probably put a dowel rod going from the top all the way down to the end. So when that's good and dry, then we're going to put the other side. So you just flip it down like that. And again, make sure you have the correct side, that's the more blemished side, that's going to be the inside of the lantern. And same thing, just run a bead of glue there and then make sure that the bottom is even. So all the pieces on the bottom are even, so it's not wobbly. I printed out Fall, F-A-L-L, on my Cricut. And I didn't have another blonde piece of wood, and I thought, you know what, that's gonna look really cool. You can put home on yours, you can put fall, you can put welcome, or you can leave it plain, it's up to you, but I thought. So now when that's dry, we're gonna take the, what do you call this, the twine, and we're just gonna run it through. So I'm taping off the end because obviously, as you can see, I was having a hard time getting it through that little hole there. So you're going to run it through and then up from the inside up on top. So you're only going to see the twine from the outside, and all of the pieces, the frayed pieces and whatnot will be on the inside. I hope that makes sense. And also, we're going to take this, and you know, after I realized that this is really not necessary step, save your $1.25. You don't really need one of these because we can hang the beads on the lights on the inside. But if you do want to use one of these, that's okay. These lights go in there really well, and you can just put the top on and screw it just a little bit, and it actually works. So I just put the lights in there and put the top back on and put it aside. And I thought it would be really pretty to put some ribbon here so you can't really see through it, but it's covered. Like you can see through it, but you can't see, it's kind of covered. You'll see what I mean. And so this ribbon, I really love this. I think it's really pretty. It's gold on one side, but when you flip it over on the inside, it's silver. And I wanted to be able to see the leaf through the pumpkin. I think I did gold on each side and then silver on the other sides, just to give it some character, I guess. And then, you know, you just cut it and then hot glue it on the inside. And I did it on all of the 4 sides. And then you just take your leaves. It's probably better to clip them all off individually and glue them on instead of having this, you know, wire, you know, running around. What I was trying to think is I could wrap the whole thing around, but I don't know, it didn't look right, and I think it would be better just to put the leaves on. Leaves and pumpkins and berries and whatnot. Easier to glue them on, and I think it looks a little cleaner too. Okay, so see the twine. And I didn't show you, and I don't know what happened to that footage, but I just strung one end to the other, and then I hung the little light on it. So that will keep the light up on top. Now here's the black one. I put it together, and then I realized that the inside of the pumpkin and the sides are not black. And that's fine. You can always touch it up and paint it, or you can leave it like this. And I have this ribbon, and I cut them, and it's just kind of a sparkly orange ribbon. I thought it was really pretty. And the same thing, I just glued it on the inside. And these here are the hanger that I took out. I just put them back in on all four sides. And then I took them on the inside and I tied them. So it makes like a little hook, like a little hanger that you can actually hang the lights in. It was kind of hard to tie them because they have the plastic things on the end, but do you see what I mean? How I tied them there on all four sides, and then you can take the lights and poke through like that. Anyway, this is what they look like in the daytime. That cute little pumpkin in the middle is also from the Dollar Tree. Here's what they look lit up at nighttime. And this takes probably all of 2 minutes to put together. So you need a jar like this. The pumpkin, any pumpkin will do, but I really thought this one was pretty. Some leaves and the jute and some fairy lights. I think the fairy lights look prettiest in this one. And of course, batteries. And you just take the lid off, and you could use the lid for a base if you like. And you could put like felt on the bottom to keep it from scratching your counter. I did not do that this time, but you can do that. That's an option. And I just wrapped the jute twine around this, the top of it. And I wrapped it from the bottom or the top of the pumpkin. I wrapped it all the way up. As you can see, I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm not going to show you unraveling all this or wrapping this all around, but this is what it looks like at the end. And yes, that's my daughter's foot there. And I just left it in just to be funny for her. Anyway, this is what it looks like. And this is the fun part. It only takes a couple seconds. If you can pull these off, pull them off. If they have a wire in them, use wire clippers. Don't ruin your scissors. I have ruined my scissors. If they don't have a wire in, I'm sure it's fine to use scissors, but always cut wires with wire clippers. Anyway, I am just taking some leaves. I think I used 5 or 6. And I just put them around. You don't want them all sticking down or all sticking up. You want to kind of have some up, some sideways, some down. You know what I mean. Just to give it some personality. And I decided to put some berries and some pumpkins on. And that's what that looks like. So I have the berries and pumpkins on one side and berries and pumpkins on the other side. And then take the fairy lights, and I love these fairy lights. They're just so dainty, they're so pretty, but you can use any kind of lights that you want, that's fine. And I just smushed them down into that jar. And now you can take the battery pack and put it on the outside if you want to hide it, or you can put it on the inside and set one of those matching leaves on top of it so you can't see the inside. And that's it. And I just put that pumpkin on top, and it looks prettier in person when it's lit up. So this is the next gnome that we're gonna make. And here's again some stuff that I'm going to use. I probably won't use all of this, but this is a placemat. It's from the Dollar Tree. I like the placemats because they're heavier, you know, for the hats, or a heavier material. But you can use material placemats. You can use, you know, anything that you want. And this faux fur is from Hobby Lobby, and I believe it's $3.99. And I usually wait until there's a sale and then I stock up on those. But you can use the mop head too. I use both for my gnomes. And you're going to need a nylon with some polyfill, or you can use cotton balls. I have an old pillow. Matter of fact, I threw my couch out and I have all of the pillows from my couch and I use the stuffing from them, so I can make a bazillion gnomes. Anyway, there's some plastic shoes from the Dollar Tree, beads, socks, some yarn to tie it off, but I'll show you as we go the things that you can use. So I like to take whatever material I'm going to use for the hat and match it to the sock. Some socks I use are gray, light gray, dark gray, some are white, some are black. They can be whatever type of color, but I'm really kind of picky about them matching. Then you take these pebbles I got from Home Depot. You get a huge bag for like $3, but you have to clean them, you have to wash them. You can also get pebbles from the Dollar Tree or from your backyard, and I just fill the sock to like how I showed you to. When you kind of hold it and drop it on the counter, it's not going to tip over, and that will give your gnome like a balance, so it will stand up and not fall over. And then you just take that polyfill. You can use a pillow, an old pillow or whatever, and stuff it in there to your desire. I like to make mine pretty solid because I do sell mine. And then just stuff it in there, tie it off with whatever string you have, and put some hot glue in there. And I'm just trying to match the beard to the material because I'm super picky for some reason. And then you take that, and you can take scissors, you can use scissors, but you don't want to cut it across. You want to just cut the layer of the back of the fur. And then when you're done, you want to pull all the excess fur off. Or you can use that X-Acto knife that I had and just score the back, but score it up, and be careful that when you're scoring it, that you don't cut yourself. Those things are very sharp, and I have cut myself before on those too. Anyway, I put the beard on, and I just glue the top and the bottom on one side, press it down, and same thing on the other side. So both sides, top and bottom. And now you take the material, just like I made the hat for the first Scarecrow gnome, do the same thing. Make a triangle with it, cut off the excess, and then cut it in half. Now, if you're using thin material, you might want to double up on it, but this was thick because it was a, placemat. And now I'm just going to fold it in half again like that to make a triangle, and I'm going to hot glue those two pieces together. And I'll show you in a minute how this works. See how it's inside out? We're gonna take it and we're gonna turn it the other way after it dries, and you want that to dry really good, and you want to press it down, press that hot glue in there. And make sure there's no openings in there, and if there is, if you missed an area, right here I'm just reinforcing it so it doesn't pull apart. So while that's drying, we're going to make a nose. You can use a bead if you want, but sometimes I like to use a nylon. You can get these knee-highs at the Dollar Tree. So you take the nylon and you cut the reinforced toe off, and you cut the top off. Then cut it in half. Tie off one end, you take your polyfill or your cotton ball and you stick it in there, and then you kind of roll it around, and then you pull the other end and you tie that off, and then you take both of the ends and you tie it together, and it gives you a nice strong, sturdy nose, if that makes sense. I know it sounds kind of silly, but it's not a flimsy nose, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then take that hat, turn it around, But just in the back, not in the front, not just yet. Now there's many things that you can do with this hat. I am just rolling it up, but you can put ribbon around it if you want, or glue ribbon around it, but I thought it looked kind of cute flipped up. And now we are going to make the arms. So you take the sock, the leftover sock from earlier, and you cut all the end off, the excess off, and then you fold it in half like I am here, and make sure those are even, because you want both of the width of the arm and the length of the arm the same width and height, or length I should say. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. And then you fold one down in the middle and the other one up, and then you fold them together. And then you just take the glue and you run a bead right down the middle of that, and then press them together, being very careful that you don't touch the glue with your hands. And I swear I don't think there's one time that I've ever used hot glue where I don't glue my hands together or burn my hands. I don't know why. I don't know. Do you guys do that? So take the excess material and cut a strip off. We are going to make a cuff around the end of the arm. And I forgot to mention, use those clips. Those are wonderful. I love these clips, and they are from the Dollar Tree. So the arm where you see the crease where it was glued together, that should go in the back of the gnome. So you put it underneath the hat, and then the crease would be facing the back. And then go ahead and take a smaller bead, and you could put it right in there and poke it down pretty good with a big glob of glue around it. And if you still see the circle or the hole in the bead, just take some hot glue and put it around the edge and pull the material up over it, so you only see like it's a little hand peeking out. And now we're going to glue the bucket onto the hands. And I can't tell you enough, if you put hot glue on metal and you touch the metal, it's going to hurt really, really bad. So use those clips as reinforcements, and don't touch the metal when the hot glue's on it. It's kind of like a hot pan on the stove. And then I just put some floral foam in there, and I'm taking these sticks, or not sticks, they're toothpicks, and these are the acorn ones, but I think I like the sunflower ones better because the gnome spirit is dark and it's hard to see them, but I thought a bucket of acorns would be cute, but you can't see them, so I did add a couple sunflowers in there. And now, while he's just sitting there chilling, we're gonna take these shoes from the Dollar Tree, and we're gonna take some felt. And I like to use felt. You can use material, but the felt works really well with these shoes. I usually cut a square or a circle. You're just gonna wanna make sure that when you fold it, it all folds into the shoe like that. So the front of the shoe, you take that and fold it in. Then you take the back of the shoe and you fold it in. Then you take the sides and then fold them in last, so the front of the shoe looks smooth. And then you just poke it down there really quick. And then just put a big glob of glue in there. And I would just let that sit for a second before we attach them. So do that to both of them. And then he can stand on these if you want, but it's a matter of getting it balanced perfectly so it doesn't tip over, or you can make it look like he's sitting down. And that's what I did. And it looks like he's doing the splits here, but he's not. His shoes are really in the front, but I don't know why in this video it looks like they're on the side. Anyway, there you can see it better.
You have made it to the end. Thank you for watching. I hope I have given you tons of inspiration. And until next time, have a blessed day. Bye.